guys, RW here. This is a slingshot related video, and I just was gonna make this primarily for Viva La Bam You Are Dead, because he's purchased this glorious frame, and they said he didn't know much about, putting together band stuff, asked me to band it up for him. So first of all, I just wanted to show you the glory that is Lucky the Slingshot. This is the Lucky Slingshot, man. Dog grabbed this thing, ran off into the woods with it, came back a day later, did not chew on it. Chewed on the leather pouch and the rubber bands. So that's how this slingshot got its name, because it was lucky to have survived at all. Okay, I just wanted to show you how I make pouches, how I put the bands on them, all that stuff. Just a real quick tutorial. There's lots of ways to punch holes. You can get a hole punchers or whatever. Some people use shell casings, and if you try and punch a shell casing through something like this, is two pieces of leather that have been glued rough to rough. Okay, you might have a little trouble punching a hole in there, but since I need to make a hole here anyway, I wanted to show you before I change this out. This is nothing more than a 22 long rifle shell casing, but I've made my own hole dealer here. So all I do is just center that right on the leathers, make sure I'm nice and centered. There's no going back. This thing's quite sharp, so it doesn't take a lot of effort. Now, I've made one that would probably be great for, let's say, for marbles. Okay, here's a marble. So see how that hole would work nice for a marble. This pouch gives you enough room that you can get onto the front of the leather before you start touching the bands. So you've got your pinch. Your pinch is very important. How you release your pinch, all of that is very important. The hole's not so big that the marble will shoot through. Okay, but I think if I was going to shoot lead, I would probably want a smaller hole like this. I'd probably be happier with that. I mean, you can use a punch and a hammer or whatever, or a tool, or whatever works for you. The idea is to make holes in your pouches where you want them, how you want them. Okay guys, just going to show you real quick how to cut TheraBand material. First I'm going to cut some off the end of this thing. The rubber's going to want to squirm. So the tool to use is a rotary cutter. You can get these relatively cheap. Okay, so now that's just scrap. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back. I just sort of look at about 3/16 as being, you can go a little thinner, you can go a little fatter, but about 3/16 I'm just eyeing it up, not being super critical about it. I'm going to make 4 of these, make sure that I cut all the way through there. A good starting point, it seems, from what I've followed, read, studied, whatever, is to get about 30 centimeters long for just regular shooting. Not for butterfly shooting, but for just sort of regular shooting and on a regular type fork. That's like a good starting point. Just line that up. This happens to be a 30 centimeter mat, so it works real great. Just lay this thing down right on the side, and I just cut right along it. Okay, and I'm going to cut 4 of these. Okay, let's go ahead and put a band onto a pouch. What I do is I roll my TheraBand. So, put this baby through here. What I like to do is I like to have about, I go for about an inch. Okay, so you have an inch of rolled up TheraBand coming through. Right, rolled over parts right there are right where you want them, which would be to fold over the longer than it is wide shape. So you want to put the longer than it is wide shape into the cavity formed by the lips of the TheraBand. You take one of your strips, okay? You slip it under one of your thumb bones that's pinching. You want to cock that sucker the same length as the pouch. So trap under the thumb bone. Okay, you have trapped it. Very good. Now, draw it around, temporarily pinch it. You got to use all of your digits, man. So, don't go crazy with the tension. You can cut the rubber. You can make the rubber fail early by going too vigorous with your tensioning. See what I'm up to here? Once you come around like this, okay, so you can see how much I got here. I got this much. Okay. Okay, so I can get a little more tension now. This is what makes the rest of that nice thing all hold together. I want to stop right here. I want to take anything that's like a rope or anything that you can slip under this, little piece of paracord, something that's not going to cut the rubber. You're going to put that loop underneath your wrap. You're going to stretch out real hard now. Now you want some tension. I'll tell you about that now. You come back around one time, you poker through the loop. Okay. Hang on. Hang on. And shimmy this bad boy right through. Now what I like to do with mine is I don't want to pull that tail all the way out because I may want to rewrap, I may want to do a lot of things. So what I do is I just leave that tail there. It's not going to hurt anything, and it actually will help you if you want to unwrap and rewrap. Use the same rubber without having to cut it off with your knife, with your giant Bowie knife. I know you carry it all times. So how did we do? Did we get one? Did we get one? Alright, so you saw how much fun that was, okay? Now you might want to test it. Give it a good stretch. Better now than later, huh? Stretch the heck out of that thing. Check it out, okay? Looking good, man. Okay, let's have a look at how you can put the bands, the flat bands on an over-the-top shooter like this frame here. You want to attach TheraBand over the top, TheraBand over the top, like that. So TheraBand's down, so that when you pull it, it shoots through the forks like that. So what I do is I look at about the width of a finger, which is a great guide because you may not have a ruler when you're outside and you want to change your bands. So I just lay down the width of a finger there to try and get myself the same on both sides. And I get the band to lay real nice over the top. I don't want to put a lot of tension on it. And then I pinch the band like this, just to hold it where I want. Pinch this little bit down so it's about the same length as the rubber. All you're trying to do is just grab the tail of it, pull around, and now I'm seeing that the rubber is getting pulled into submission here, just like I want it. Let's come back around, let's take a look at it now. Okay, now when it comes over, it's going to want to pull nice and straight. So now at this point, you put you don't want to twist your bands, so keep them flat, your little ties, keep them flat, okay, and keep a constant amount of tension. So what I like to do is I put it under tension, I let go, I wrap all the way around, I put it on, I put my finger on it, put the band under tension, come all the way around. Now I'm seeing how much I can make, how many more can I make. This is it, okay. So at this point I'm going to hold this off right about here because I'm going to make my tie on the outside too. You take a loop of anything. This is a little necklace strand. Doesn't matter. If you want, you can wet it if you think that'll help you out. Go over it, okay. This is the part where it would help if my fingers would just cooperate a little better. Okay, you go over it, okay, pinch, a lot of tension, come back around, okay, stick it through that loop, poke that loop up if you have to, whatever, get it to go through the darn loop. So make your loop big enough so your big old fat fingers or whatever can make it happen for you. Alright, now put some tension under that bad boy and shimmy it on out like this. And what I like to do is I like to leave the tag of it there. It doesn't hurt anything, but because this is a necklace and I don't want to cut that strand, go ahead and pull that off. Now you've got a little thing here that you can cut off, okay, That's about the only time you'd ever want to maybe use scissors when you're cutting this rubber, is just to cut a little tag off. Just okay. So now what you can do is you can test this thing, see if it's going to hold. You know, yeah, of course it's going to hold. You don't pull them this way. You pull it over the fork like that. Okay, so now I'll do the other side, but I will save you the tedium of having to watch that. Okay.